All right, we're live. How is everyone doing? Let me know if you can hear me okay and if you can see me okay. Should all be good, but I need you guys to let me know in the comment section because I had a little technical issue here. How are we all doing? Welcome to the live stream. Been a little while. Perfect. Okay, good. So this time I had a technical issue, but I also had a backup ready because we're learning, legends. We're improving. We're innovating in the bear market. I honestly should have had this like years ago, but anyway, here we are. Let's get this started. And yeah, we've seen a little bit of volatility with Bitcoin today. Damn, it feels good to be behind the microphone. As we're coming in here, guys, do me a favor, throw up a couple of likes. Well, throw up one like on this YouTube video live stream. If you're excited for the content I'm going to be covering here, it just helps push this out to viewers that already want to see this, but obviously aren't because of YouTube's horrible content delivery system. So just bear with here, just while I check everything's good on my side one more time, but all looks okay. Perfect. Let's get this show started. So, well, here's the thing. Here's the thing with Bitcoin right here. We ended up seeing Bitcoin rise up from... and by the way, if you hear any background noise as well, just let me know as well. I'm curious about this. I'm just trying something different today. If you take a look at what Bitcoin managed to pull right here, we went from $16,900 all the way up to $18,000 right here. We're seeing a little bit of a pullback, and I think that this is shaping up to be a very, very interesting opportunity for Bitcoin in the market right now. So definitely quite exciting. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's take a closer look. I think what we're seeing right here, guys, is actually, something that's going to be, broadly speaking, just down to the inflation data that we saw come out earlier today. Now, obviously, with the United States incorrect dating format, putting the month and then the day afterwards, they published this bit of news right here, showing us that inflation rose by 7.1% over the last 12 months. So that's November 21 to November 22. And the reason that I think we're seeing big moves in the market today, and I'm not even going to focus on Bitcoin for this, but this is going to be towards the dollar dropping quite a bit. If we look at this on the hourly time frame, the dollar saw a very, very steep drop pretty much right as the news was released right here. But also, perhaps more importantly, although almost equally, the S&P 500 also seeing a very big rise. But the S&P actually got rejected quite harshly as well. So I think this was quite a big deal what we saw right here, because the S&P 500, if you take a look at where it closed on the 12th of December, being yesterday, it closed all the way down at 39.90, but it opened way higher. Today's trading session on the daily, let's just take a look at this on the daily so we can see this with a little bit more clarity. Today's trading session started all the way up at 40.70 and managed to go all the way up to 4100. So I was saying that my area of resistance on this chart is going to be 4120. We stopped just shy of that. And now, all the way back down, seeing quite a big retracement. And actually, I think this is good news because, we've seen the S&P 500 shoot up massively, but Bitcoin, and Bitcoin did the same thing. But the S&P 500 has nearly erased all of its gains today. You take a look at the daily candle for Bitcoin right now, and it's still trading substantially higher than when it opened. And granted, Bitcoin is a 24-hour market, so it's not completely fair to compare these things. But even if you look at like the high of today's trading, we managed to get up to just about 17.9K, $18,000, and now we're down by about $400. It's really not that bad, in my opinion. Like I don't think it's that bad overall. And so what I'm seeing here potentially is a situation where Bitcoin is starting to outperform the S&P 500. And if you've been subscribed to this YouTube channel for a little bit of time, you're going to remember that I've been talking about this for a really long time, where I've been seeing that Bitcoin needs to decouple from more traditional markets. And this doesn't mean we're doing that, but it's a step in the right direction. And that's something that I'm definitely liking to see, right? I mean, we don't have to be perfect, but as long as we're making progress, that's good enough for Sammy here. So I'm liking what I'm seeing right now, and I'm going to be keeping a close eye on this as we keep moving forward in this state in the market at the moment. Guys, as we're going along as well, I want to remind you that all of these live streams are for me to give you my analysis and for you to drop your questions here as well. So while you can, go ahead and do that. If you do have anything that's burning that you really want to get through, let me know, and I'm going to be covering it in this live stream as well. As usual, just try and tag me, write my actual username as well so that I see your comment a little bit easier. It highlights your comment in orange. If you don't, I'm probably still going to see it, but it just makes it more likely that I will. So if you got any questions, any particular charts you want me to look at, let's open this up as well, and I'm super down to cover that with you all. But bringing us back to the key thing that I want to discuss with you right at the beginning here is the CPI data. Again, the reason that this is a big deal is, we've seen 7% inflation year over year, right, from November last year to November this year, an increase of 0.1%. And the reason people are excited by that is it means that inflation is coming under control, or at least that it's not continuing to get worse. That's a step in the right direction, right? Where previously inflation was really bad and things were looking very, very bad for practically everything, we're starting to see that it's coming under control. And one of the reasons that it could be coming under control, obviously, would be the increase in interest rates that we've been seeing across not just the United States, but many countries around the world. Definitely most Western countries that I know of anyway, have been increasing their interest rates as well in order to tackle the same inflation problems that the United States is facing. So when we start to see that these inflation numbers are kind of coming under control a little bit, that's going to be giving people a bit of encouragement, because it means that we're entering, potentially more healthy situations for stock markets and so on to rise, right? And the reason stock markets are important for Bitcoin is quite simply because Bitcoin is a riskier asset than stock markets, and so it's generally going to be the safer markets that pump first, and then we have the space for our more loving assets to start seeing a little bit of sunshine too. So what does that mean? Well, when inflation's going really crazy, one of the key things that the Fed, for example, would do, is it the Fed? I can't even remember now. Would do is they would be raising interest rates, and when they raise interest rates, it becomes a little bit less attractive to borrow money in order to buy indices like the S&P 500, right? So we start to see a little bit of that buying pressure dry up, and that's just one of the many reasons. It's also when interest rates are lower, it's less attractive to keep your money in the bank. You're not gaining as much interest on it, so you're going to be looking to potentially risk your money in order to grow it. These are very cookie cutter explanations for what's going on. They don't necessarily rule the market, but they're definitely a few of the factors that are at play right now. So I think it's worth highlighting. And it's also very important to mention, I don't want to sound like I'm praising the US government too much, God forbid. This is still absolutely horrible, right? 7.1% year over year is disgusting for a country like the United States. The UK is even worse. It's really, really bad, all over the world right now. I don't need to tell you this. We all know it. And so what I'm not trying to do is say that things are good, but what I am saying is that where things were previously really bad, they're now less bad, right? So whereas previously it looked like we were just nosediving down, now we're still going down, but a little bit slower. And by going down, I mean just things are getting worse. They're just getting worse slower. And that's what's kind of, giving people a bit of excitement. And so before I even get to the rest of the analysis that I want to cover with you in today's live stream, one of the big things that I want to talk to you guys about is that I think we're in a situation right now in this market, and I will talk about the S&P 500, other coins and so on in just a little bit. Stick with me here because I've got a lot of really important stuff that I want to cover with you. One of the big things that I want to just get across in this live stream before we get any deeper here is that the markets right now are seeing some potentially quite bullish, exciting signs right now, right? There are things that look good, that potentially look promising, and I want you guys to be grounded in understanding that when we're in a phase of the market like this, where we've had a really nice big run up and now a long-term bear market, we're gonna get like rays of sunshine coming through our clouds every now and then, right? We're gonna get situations that look nice amidst all the shit. And what's absolutely essential to understand is that generally, I'm not saying this is going to happen now, but generally, when something like this happens, we're going to keep showing signs like this for a long time, right? And like they'll come and go. They'll come and go. They'll come and go. A great example of this is what happened right before the FTX collapse at the beginning of November. Things were looking really, really, really good. We had a genuine, real chance, I think, for the market to rise up, but we fucked it up. Well, we didn't do anything. It was obviously FTX, but the market didn't manage to take advantage of it, and we saw a collapse, right? So what we had was a really nice setup for the market, but it didn't work out. It ended up exploding in the opposite direction, and now we're seeing another one right now. And I'm going to tell you more about that when we get to the technicals later on in this live stream. If you're excited for it, do me a favor and smash up the likes again as you're coming in here, just to make sure that the algorithm is pushing this content out to whoever actually wants to watch it. I do appreciate all of you engaging with this content right here. We're going to be showing these signs all the time, right? And it might not be the first sign that materializes into a real, kind of bull market. It might not be the second. It might not even be the 5th or the 10th or the 15th, but one of them will work out, obviously, generally, because markets don't stay in downtrends or uptrends forever, and we don't know which one it is. It's always just inevitably going to be the last one, right? The last attempt at being bullish is the one that materializes, and then we actually are bullish. I think this is important to keep note of because a lot of people, they get carried away with the hype, and I don't want you guys to be carried away with the hype. And it's one thing for me to say that. Anybody can say that to you, but now that you've just listened to the last 2.5 minutes of me talking about this, you're also going to know why. And it's simply just that the market will print these kind of rallies in order to, very, very typical. We've seen it already a million times. I'm going to be covering it with you in today's live stream as well. It's going to be printing these rallies where we end up setting generally, subsequently lower highs in the market, right? So something that looks a little bit like this. We're setting lower highs, bam, lower high, bam, lower high, and then eventually the market collapses. So we've already seen this happen a couple of times with that previous range around 20 to 24, 25K. We could be seeing it again right now. So this is what I want to highlight to you in this live stream right here is, we do move up. We have reasons for why we move up. It doesn't really matter. Ultimately, we're still in a downtrend. And again, this is something I'm going to talk to you guys about with a little bit more detail in just a little bit. Now, what I want to move over to before we even get to that Bitcoin analysis, I know I'm teasing you guys a little bit right here, is that with the S&P 500 right here, we are looking at quite an important price level. We've just kind of been sideways at this, finding support at this 3,900 area. We're now coming back down to test it. I don't like that. I don't really understand why the S&P 500 has been able to open so high and is now potentially looking at closing so low. That's not a good sign. If we do end up losing 3,900, I don't really see any support for the S&P 500 until potentially quite a bit lower. The next key area of support that I've been looking at is between these two green lines, which stretch between 35.70 and 34.10. That's anywhere between an 8 to 12% drop to the downside. Quite substantial for the S&P 500. I don't even want to talk about what that would do for Bitcoin. Probably would put Bitcoin down at $14,000 or lower. So that is something which still looks like it's on the cards, especially because of this weakness. But right now, we're still above support. Right now, we're still hitting that resistance, although not as much as we should be, but we are still hitting that resistance. I don't want to take credit away where it's due. I think credit is due here. I think the S&P 500 is doing well, despite the fact that we've got a questionable day of performance right here after the initial very, very high open. If we're able to find support right here, I do expect that we're going to be challenging this area of resistance at about 41.20 to 41.70. And I don't think it's going to be a huge problem for the S&P 500 to break it. So I think that we should be able to, if we find support down here with this kind of pullback down, if this ends up turning into an area of support, which, it already kind of was, but if we find support again, and then target this high again, that to me would be the sign that we are actually going to be breaking this and looking at hitting that next area of resistance between basically 42.50 and 4300. And so the cool thing here is, what I'd be expecting right now is that Bitcoin, is probably going to continue to follow if the S&P 500 does that. And this is where we get to the really fun stuff. We start talking about the Bitcoin analysis. Obviously, there was a lot of very important content that we had to get through first. I see a bunch of your questions here. I'm going to be going through them later on in this live stream as well. Thank you all for dropping them down, along with the likes that you've been leaving on this live stream so far. I do see it, and I do appreciate it very, very much. There's some really cool setups we have with Bitcoin right here. There are some cool charts I'm going to be showing you, but let's just start off with the basics. Bitcoin ended up penetrating our $17,600 area of resistance, which is absolutely fantastic. That's the best case scenario that I was outlining for you guys. This is the prior low that the market set when we bottomed out in June of 2022 this year, when we got that really, really big flash crash from $30,000 down to in this case 17,600. The level that we bounced off from was 17.6. So we have today managed to reclaim that level. That is fantastic. The good news, I think, now is that, if you take a look at what's been going on between these two price levels, between 17.6 and 18.5, There's really no trading that takes place here. You guys see so much of my analysis revolves around this style of analysis, and that's because it's bloody reliable. It just works. It works really well, works really consistently, and it works, when I say really well, I mean in terms of, the impact it gives you is huge. You can really spot some quite lucrative opportunities if you're keeping your eyes open here. If you take a look at the way that we drop down here, we are on the 4-hour time frame, but pretty much just dropping all the way down and then rising all the way back up and then dropping nearly all the way back down and then rising all the way back up. And then take a look at how many times we tried to get back down into this price area, but we just couldn't do it. Look, the price gets saved on this occasion, price gets saved on this occasion, gets saved on this occasion. I mean, the market just doesn't penetrate this level, right? A couple fake outs right here, but then 1, 2, 3 instances where the market can't penetrate this area of, at the time, resistance. Again, a little fake out here, and then bam, one more occasion here where the market can't quite penetrate the level. This is a very, very important level. I mean, it's quite clear that this gap here in the market gets defended, and I think that it also implies, to me at least, that we are potentially in a situation where not only does this level do these two levels both get defended. In fact, you can see that right here. Take a look at this as support. We're using it quite cleanly as support and as resistance quite cleanly as resistance as well, with our candle bodies here and with our wick over here. To me, this means that this is a very, very important range, and we've now broken into it. Could this be a fake out? Absolutely, yes, it very well could be. Is it? I don't know. I don't think so. I think that this is. I think that this move makes sense. I think that it's come off, some really strong volume, really, really strong volume, guys. A lot of the fake outs we had before, yes, they've also come with some pretty decent volume as well. I wouldn't want to discount it. Actually, we've only got these 3 fake outs here. And I mean, the volume was strong on these occasions too, so it does actually kind of fit that profile. But I mean, as far as, like what I'm seeing right here, this move to me does make sense. We have spent a good amount of time now in this range. Each time we got a fake out, we generally didn't last very long, in this range during that kind of fake out. We have lasted a good amount of time here now. If this is a fake out, we're probably going to know within the next 4 to 8 hours. So it's not really that concerning to me. To me, that all looks very, very good. One of the other key things I've said, which you're going to know about if you've been subscribed to this YouTube channel, is that we have been setting a pattern of higher lows and a pattern of higher highs. Very typical of being in a bull market, at least in this case, a short-term bull market. And crucially, on the subject of setting higher lows, this also means that the market is having a chance to reset before every subsequent move up. And that is really, really important. If we're only moving up or if we're only moving down in a straight line, we're going to get really, really sharp relapses, and it's going to be really bad, very, very ugly and unpleasant in the market. We don't have that setup right now. Right now, we have a very good setup in the market, in my opinion, from what I'm seeing here, seeing that the market is managing to reset quite often, seeing that we're able to pull back, find bits of liquidity, and then start to rocket higher is exactly what we want to see when we start wondering, when we start speculating, is this a series of price movements that are going to stick, or are we looking at another very standard deviation above our resistance levels and then coming back down? That's a very, very typical thing for the market to do. I will talk about that shortly in this live stream, but for now, seeing that we're getting our pullbacks again, the reason I'm looking at these things is I want to ask the question, can we validate what we're seeing? Can we actually look at any evidence here on this chart to suggest that this price action is real and that this price action is going to stick? And one of the key ways we can do that is looking at if our rally so far looks sustainable. 100% yes, it does, in my opinion, without a shadow of a doubt. Are we going slowly? Yes, we are. This has taken a very long time from our low to where we are right now. We've been here for 21 and a half days now in this uptrend. Not super, super long, but by no means is this short. A 3-week uptrend, would make so much sense. It looks very, very healthy. We've got the volume to back it as well. It's coming off some bullish news and news that we were expecting. Again, those of you that are subscribed are going to know that I've been saying, we've got signs that inflation is slowing down, that it's not, particularly getting bad as quickly as it was perhaps earlier this year, and so on and so forth, right? Like the market has been giving us these signs for a while, and I've been bringing them to your attention when I've, as soon as I've been seeing them. on this YouTube channel. And I think that's a really, really important thing to take note of in this market right now, because when we are starting to see that these things are potentially, just getting a little bit better, well, then that, kind of starts to give us some more opportunities to speculate as well. So I'm liking what I'm seeing there. Before we start talking more about what might happen a little bit further up, let's bring up some of our key indicators. And again, I do see your questions in the comment section here. I will get to all of them very shortly. I see them all right here. Thank you all very much. Thank you all for smashing up those likes, those of you that have done so already. Yeah, some really, really interesting thoughts here. Let me get to all of them in just a little bit. Let's take a look at some of our key indicators here. So bam, there you go. 4-hour Ichimoku cloud once again. Nice big cloud right here coming in. Very, very, very handy. 3 successful tests of our Kumo. Absolutely fantastic. I mean, the cloud is working exactly as we teach it inside of the Four Flies Academy course. It's working exactly as it was made. It is phenomenal. It is giving us those bounces. It is beautiful to see, ladies and gents. Those of you that are inside VIP are going to know that I was actually trading the long side, trading the upside. Unfortunately, I closed that position at break even. It was on Ethereum. Would have been a very nice trade, but I closed it at break even. I got cold feet basically, and I saw some signs that it might not be as perfect as it once looked. Totally fine. At least I didn't lose money, and I have been looking to trade the upside. I'm still looking to trade the upside. Every single bit of information about what that looks like is going to be going straight inside of Four Flies VIP, which you can join by following these steps on screen right here. Just had a beautiful call with one of our yearly members who just finished his first year inside of Four Flies VIP. Went very, very well for him, learned a lot more about what healthy trading looks like, and has already developed his own strategies as well for being a trader as well. Very, very cool indeed. VIP members that take our yearly offer are going to be getting free access to my Advanced Academy course, which is $2,500, a little bit more than that. When we publish the re-recordings, its price is going to go up because we've also added some new content to it, and you get that course completely free of charge as a yearly member, and phone calls with me whenever you like. We've been running them for a long time, and they have been very, very useful for yearly VIP members. You can get them. You can ask for a call every month, every week, whatever. It's really up to you. A lot of people like to get a call right when they join VIP, and then another 3 months in, and then another at the end of their first year or whatever, however long they've been in VIP. Very, very cool model. It all comes free of charge with your package, so go ahead and check it out by following these steps on screen. My team is online right now and already responding to those of you that have inquired about joining. Very, very cool indeed. So let's bring it back to the chart here. For our Ichimoku cloud looking fantastic. The EMA ribbon. Let's take a look at this. We have lost a little bit of the spread. I'm more interested in the daily EMA ribbon right here. Yeah, look at that. So we've got resistance here on the daily EMA ribbon. We pretty much managed to break out above it earlier today, and we're pretty close to the top of it right now as well. So I think if we're able to get above this daily EMA ribbon and then maybe even come back down, that's going to be really, really bullish. To me, this shows me that we've pretty much beaten all of the momentum resistance that was going against Bitcoin right here, which is a really, really good sign. I'm really happy to see that. Now, on the daily time frame, if we take that Ichimoku cloud, this is where we get a reality check. Everything that I've been saying so far has been sounding really, really nice, all sunshine and butterflies, but we have a fat Ichimoku cloud ahead of us, ladies and gents. This is absolutely huge. It makes those Calvin Klein models look like thin models right here with this Ichimoku cloud, and always shocked me, by the way. When I saw them in Los Angeles in real life, I was shocked. I couldn't believe that was real. But these clouds, they are something else. They're taking this shit to a whole other level. This is something to be to be wary of right here. I'm not liking this. It is concerning, and it has resulted in some pretty I mean exactly. Look at that. It's been a problem for Bitcoin. So is it going to be a problem the fourth time around? Probably, yeah, unfortunately. It's hard to say when the Ichimoku cloud stops being useful, after how many attempts. It's more useful and less useful depending on where you are in the market, but I want to show you the previous kind of big bear market that Bitcoin suffered back in 2018. We were actually running this YouTube channel throughout this whole bear market ever since, really. So those of you that have been subscribed since then, you're going to remember that. Shout out to you. Take a look at this. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 key rejections off the cloud, and many more if we zoom in a little bit closer. Even a seventh potentially if you want to count this, although it didn't quite reject us, we just slowed down. And then there are occasions right here where we only really get 1 or 2 kind of profiled rejections, and then bam, we break out, right? So in that sense, it is a little bit hit and miss, but my God, it's been very reliable lately. And I don't want to, I don't want to take this lightly. This is resistance. Let's not beat around the bush. And it starts exactly where we're expecting our next band of resistance to be, which is going to be that 18.6K range. Stretches all the way up to the very low $20,000 area as well. We'll talk more about these 2 levels now as well. Let's take the Ichimoku cloud off and bring us back to the 1 hour time frame. Take a slightly more empty chart where I don't have as many drawings on them. And right here we've got the 4 hour time frame with a few of the key levels. Over here I've got the 18.1K level on the chart as well. This line needs to change. It's not at the correct price level, so let me just move that up to 18.6. And the reason that I chose 18.1 is it was just, that's our prior high. This is one of the key levels to beat. We basically got rejected there today. Bear with, guys. That's our prior high, and so that's a key level to be watching. And also with our support area down at 18.1 on this little flash crash that Bitcoin had towards the end of September, that also looks like something which is worth paying attention to. So what I'm going to be looking at is if we're able to get above this prior high. This is basically our resistance now on a very short-term time frame, but broadly speaking, as I've been saying, the key level for Bitcoin, in my opinion, is going to be 18.6, because this was primarily the floor for Bitcoin, throughout this multi-month shit area, basically, is what I'm going to call it, this distribution pattern. But to me, this is just a shit area. This was the floor for Bitcoin, 18.6 up to whatever, 18.9. I think, some of the low 19K levels, even up to 19.5, are also quite important. So we could definitely drop another line around over here, just showing us where some of these key areas of resistance are going to be. I think it's worth potentially just using a dotted line to represent this area of resistance, because it's really nothing that I'm particularly worried about. And it is these 2 lines that I think could be a little bit more problematic for Bitcoin. And if we actually go ahead and take a look at these lines, just making them red, we can start to visualize them as resistance just a little bit more. It looks a little bit more pink. Is this even red? I don't know. My head's fucking with me. I think the color accuracy on my Mac isn't set properly. But yeah, these areas of resistance, definitely something that I'm going to be watching. They do line up with the Ichimoku cloud very nicely as well. So if you're a bear, that's something that you're going to be gaining. Perhaps, I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but perhaps gaining a little bit of extra confidence from. And as somebody, I've been saying for a while, I'm pretty bullish on this market. I mean, it was pretty clear to me that we're going to get this rally. I've been expecting it for a while. I've been saying that a lot to you guys. Even through, and bless you all who can see through the titles. By the way, a lot of people just really can't understand what my content is when they read the titles of these videos. But you're gonna know that my overall opinions haven't actually fluctuated very much at all. And they have mainly been to the tune of, I am expecting some moves to the upside, and so this is looking pretty cool indeed. I want to cover some more of what might happen if we move to the upside, but first I'm going to be taking your questions. So thank you all for dropping them in the comment section so far. If you have any more, feel free to do so now. What coins do I like to dollar cost average? Just Bitcoin. I only dollar cost average into Bitcoin. I'm just a Bitcoin maxi, really, to be honest. I'm just a Bitcoin maximalist. I don't like any other cryptocurrency coins. I'll buy them, I'll hold them, but I won't actively DCA on any of them other than Bitcoin. I just don't think they're worth the time. I think the S&P 500 just filled the gap, might pump towards day close. That is a really good perspective. So JK is saying that the reason the S&P 500 fell down was to fill the gap that it created, which, if true, would be very, very bullish. Although the bad news is we didn't fill that gap. There's still a little bit of a gap left. I don't know how much it matters. In truth, gaps don't matter too much. We have a very big gap right here, and it didn't seem to matter. So I'm not particularly worried about gaps overall. It's really not something that, look, we've got another gap over here. Well, actually, no, we would have filled that one. I don't even know how this works. This is confusing. Definitely got another gap here. You know, there's gaps all over the place. There's probably a good few gaps above us. Yeah, we filled this one. Well, that was with this bit of price action. There's another gap here that we didn't quite fill. You know, so there's gaps all over the place. It's really not something that I'm too worried about. There aren't actually any gaps. There's only, like 1 or 2 gaps above us right now. So another gap right here. They're not big, but there's not many gaps below us. I don't know if it's something I would read into too much, but these things, in my experience, do work out just because they're self-fulfilling prophecies. So if we see something like that again now, could you say that the gap has filled enough? Probably. Actually, it looks like it has filled on the 1 hour time frame. No, it still hasn't. Look, if you really expand the chart, there's still a bit of a gap there. Look at that. That's definitely a gap, right? What is this gap? Yeah, it's like a 0.06%. It really doesn't matter, does it? But ultimately, some people are still going to be looking at that. It's not the kind of thing that I care about, but you know what? Like, if this is a self-fulfilling prophecy, then that's one less reason to be bearish right now. And that, I think, is a good sign. All right, where do I recommend going / what material do I recommend using to learn about setting up stop losses? I can't make any recommendations to you, but mate, I learned a lot of this stuff just off, YouTube and books. I've got my own Four Flies Trading Academy course, which you can get, most people can get for free by joining Four Flies VIP. You just got to follow these steps to ask how to join. And I've got a lot of content on setting stop losses and where I do it. If you're asking for the main place that I trade, those orders are going to be on Bybit, which is running currently a $30,000 deposit bonus. By the way, if you sign up using my link in the description down below, it's absolutely enormous. But also Prime XBT. This is a really, really cool exchange that I worked with a couple years back, I think, and now again right now, they allow you to trade some really, really cool stuff like the S&P 500 and gold and euro against the dollar and GBP against the dollar and so on. Some really, really cool stuff. That, by the way, this is a Bitcoin like crypto exchange, right? So you deposit Bitcoin, not real money, and you can trade all of these markets, which I think is ridiculous. Absolutely, you can trade oil, you can trade silver. So cool. So I think this is worth checking out. These guys are also offering you a $7,000 sign up bonus, and as for material on how to set them and like which levels to pick, I show you how I do that inside of my content right here, which you can gain access to by following these steps on screen right here. I do already see that some of you have asked to join VIP, and my team is online right now responding to you as we go through this live stream. Let's see what else we have here. Is Binance safe? I would imagine so. I don't know. I don't use Binance though. Haven't used Binance since 2018 actually. Not a fan of Binance. Keiko is asking, is the bottom in? I'm not sure, sir. I don't speculate on those kind of things. If it isn't, I'll find a way to buy more Bitcoin. And if it is, good, because I'm done with this shit. But I don't know. I don't know if the bottom is in or not. What I do know is that right now, we've got a pretty bullish setup in the short term. And what we do with that will depend. But I think right now we're doing some pretty good things so far. And I think it's paved a pretty good path for Bitcoin at the moment. Love your streams. Thank you very much, Robert. Appreciate you coming in. Nick Malak, shout out to you. Very good friend of mine. Is the FTX exchange good to trade on? Can you even still trade on FTX, or is the website down? I'm just Googling this on another browser. I don't even think the FTX website works. I'm not supposed to. Okay, so it redirects to restructuring.ra.kroll.com. I don't know what Kroll is. Probably a restructuring company. When companies go under. So unfortunately, sir, not possible to trade on FTX anymore. Fuck me, I shouldn't be laughing. I should not be laughing. Sorry. Make sure to elaborate the rumor about Binance. What rumor are we talking about? Why are you bringing this up? I don't actually know. I did actually hear a rumor about Binance today, but I don't give him much credit. You know, I mean, I've heard rumors, you know, that discredit every exchange quite a few times, and it's always like generally with a very quick time horizon that something bad is going to happen. I don't really care too much for them. It's not really something I pay much attention to. What I'm actually going to do now is head on over to the chart again, cover this a little bit more, and then come back to your questions shortly. Can I share the bear scenario? I'm probably actually going to make a video on that, and cover that in a totally separate one. But I'll talk a little bit about it today. Yeah, let me bring it back to the chart for a minute and talk about what might happen to the. Okay, it's Binance laundering money charges. I guess it's not a rumor anymore then. It's probably starting to materialize. People saying Binance is in goodbye. Yeah, I don't know how much I can say because I don't know if what I heard is there even anything going on with Binance? Is it like starting to hit the news? Let's take a look. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so there are. Okay, this has been in the news for a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I'm not worried about Binance. I'm really not. I don't know about money laundering charges. That almost sounds like a guaranteed to me. That's absolutely not surprising. But we all know that Binance can support withdrawals. I mean, you know, this is just one of those things where like anything that's like kind of scary will be very scary in a bear market. You know, I mean, I'm just not worried. I'm not worried about Binance. I don't like Binance, but I'm certainly not worried, and I wouldn't be worried if I was one of their customers. I mean, freezing USDC withdrawals is a bit of a red flag, but you know, it's not like you can't just sell your USDC for USDT, you know, or something else and then withdraw it. It's not like they're pausing all withdrawals, so really not the end of the world, to be honest. Yeah, and this doesn't even sound like. I mean, you could just call bullshit on this, and you could think that they're lying with what they said in this tweet. But see, this is exactly what I just said. You can still withdraw USDT and BUSD. You know, I mean, this is it's just people that are trying to be scared for the sake of being scared. Look at that, USDC withdrawals back online. I don't know. I think this is just fear porn. I don't buy into it. I don't pay attention to it. I'm not worried about Binance. I'm really not. Yeah, I think Binance is a pretty legitimate company. Do I think they maybe launder a bit of money here and there? You know, shit. I mean, I don't know what crypto exchange doesn't. You know, like I don't know. I don't really know anything about this stuff. But we're talking about the crypto industry at the end of the day, and we're talking about companies that have launched since. You know, like that have been running since 2018, 2017, 2019. You know, but before there was really any real kind of regulatory framework for a lot of the activities they engage in. You know, did any dodgy things happen back then? Maybe, like I don't know, but like shit, you tell me. Like to me, it's just not something I would rule out completely. But I mean. I don't know. I'm not qualified to talk about this stuff, and I'm certainly not experienced enough either. So, I probably shouldn't because I might say something wrong. But But yeah, I wouldn't be worried about Binance. I think it's classic fear porn, and it's nothing that I'm interested in. I think it's totally fine. I think it's totally fine. I think most big exchanges right now are still totally fine, and I've been saying that for a while. You know, I mean, I'm not particularly worried. Still, do I think that you should keep your money on exchanges? Fuck no, absolutely not. And I've been saying that since well before the FTX collapse. I've been saying it for a very, very long time. Money should be spread out. It should be in multiple different places. It should be in hardware wallets. It should, if you want it on exchanges, and create another account on the same exchange or a different exchange to spread out your risk. And I've been saying, like, these are great opportunities to get on with Bybit, Prime XBT, and so on, where you can make a second account on an exchange that you don't even use yet, just so that if one of your exchanges has a problem, you at least have some money spread out in somewhere else where you can continue to execute trades, and at least you don't have all your eggs in one basket. I mean, it's only a responsible thing to do. You would do this with your business, right? If you've got a business with a lot of cash in it, it makes sense to have that money spread out across multiple bank accounts. It's totally reasonable risk management, and of course you've got beautiful opportunities to do it. 30k up for grabs with Bybit, 7k up for grabs with Prime XBT, and of course Prime XBT offering you the ability to trade all of these other markets as well, all with a Bitcoin deposit without even passing KYC. Very, very cool indeed right here. Let's bring it back to the chart though, and what I want to cover with you here, bringing it back to the TA, is what might happen if we end up targeting the upside. So I already touched on this briefly, but I really do see this price range that we're in right now as a pretty empty range right here, stretching between 17.6 all the way up to 18.6. So this is something that I'm going to be watching for. If we are able to see a continued move to the upside, I really think that we're going to at least get to 18.6. I think that we could expect a little bit of a rejection up here, and that would make sense because it at that point would mean that we've been in a pretty big leg up, right? If we compare that to some of the other legs that we've seen so far during this current little uptrend, it would be quite a long leg up that we'd potentially be taking. So I don't even know if we can get that far right now. It looks like a pretty standard leg up, right on par with some of the other moves that we've been seeing. Take a look at this. Very, very standard. We're on the linear chart, of course, so this is reflected fairly and accurately. So I think that I do think this leg can get a little bit bigger. We've seen a good amount of consolidation, really, haven't we? Between now when the pump has happened and when we basically entered this price range from a little bit lower. So with such a big correction, I think it's totally fair to expect that we can continue to move up. I think it's interesting the position that Ethereum is in, because Ethereum, is actually a little bit closer to its support level than Bitcoin, right? So this area that I had drawn with a red line, that actually was serving as resistance for Ethereum as recently as just like 2-3 days ago, now potentially coming back down for that retest. It could be ready to act as support, and that would be very, very exciting. We've already kind of done it, right? If we draw this area with a box instead of a red line, we can now see pretty clearly that this has potentially flipped from an area of resistance potentially into an area of support. It's already happened, so that is something I'm going to be keeping an eye on. I think that there are some really cool opportunities still here, and Ethereum obviously with a slightly similar chart setup to Bitcoin as well, so this is something that I'm going to continue to keep an eye on right here as we continue on in this market. I think that these are looking like some pretty impressive levels, to say the least. And so 17k right here, 17.7, pretty good price level for Bitcoin to be sitting at. If we're able to sweep that high, I'm going to be looking at that mid 18k range. If we're able to get above this range, this is where we really start to get back in the game. Everything below 18.6 is still pretty bearish territory as far as I'm concerned. Even being above 17.6, I mean, look, it's a good sign, but this, the market was finding its bottoms at 18.6, really. I mean, it was only the first big flash crash that stopped here, but most of the key price action happened above 18.6. Let me show you that again. So if we're able to get above 18.6, focusing on this first red line, look at this. Like, see, most of the trading, most of it, I mean, there was only like 3 wicks that fell below this level. Most of the trading took place anywhere between a little bit to very high above this $18,600 level. So if we're able to get above that, that's going to be where I think the market is in a pretty good place again, and where I think we can start now really getting that, at least the ones that are a little bit overexcited, just starting to get that lotion out and getting down to business, because that's where things are going to be getting very, very exciting, I think, for Bitcoin bulls. If we are able to get above 18.6, then that next key area I think would be around 19.5. Very strong resistance. I mean, these are not going to be easy levels to break. And again, I just want to remind you that right here is where we're potentially going to be seeing a lot of resistance. So let's certainly not get our hopes up too high at this current phase in the market right now. I think that there is still a lot that could go pretty wrong for Bitcoin, and I do want to make sure that we're continuing to retain perspective of those kind of things. I want to show you another chart right here, just showing you that Bitcoin has managed to pump up at a pretty decent time. We actually had this trend line right here, which from the 20th, around the 20th of November up to around the 12th of December right here, it took about 20 days for Bitcoin to actually lose this area of support, which we used once, twice, thrice, and even a little bit more. What the fuck? This dude in the comments is just saying, do I have some family in South Brazil? I may know your possible father. I think I know my father. I'm pretty sure I know who my dad is, bro. You just completely thrown me off. I need to cover the comments again. This is why I cover the comments when I'm talking a lot of the time, because some people just say some really weird shit and it just throws me off. Anyway, support here that we managed to use quite a few times, broadly about 3-4 times, but also if we zoom in a little bit more, just take a look at this more kind of closer price action, we've seen even more hits off this level. We lost it, and we've now managed to recover it with quite an explosive bang. So as I've been saying, one of the key characteristics of this market for a little bit has been the deviations that we've continued to be seeing in this market, and with the deviations, they generally lead to quite large explosions to the other side right here, and yeah, we've potentially looked at that. This guy's saying, I know one guy just like you. He looks like you. Sorry, no, it's okay, dude. I don't want you to be sorry. I'm just fucking around, but if he is not your father, maybe he could be your brother. Fucking hell. Croatia or Argentina? You're putting a $500 bet on whatever I say. Now, see, I would have answered you, but I really have to make it clear that I'm not a financial advisor. In fact, damn, I have a scrolling banner that gives you this disclaimer now, but I can't put it on right now. I don't know though, Croatia or Argentina? Shit, it's a hard one. I don't even want to think about it after that England game. I stopped paying attention to the World Cup right after that. Let's not get into it, because I think I've got a few French viewers, and I don't want to talk about it. But Croatia, Argentina, shit. I'm gonna go with Argentina, but I don't know. I really don't. I'm not really a football guy. Anyway, nice to see this. Nice to see this uptrend right here staying intact. I've already covered that Ethereum level with you guys. Another very cool chart that I want to show you that just kind of gives us a little bit of perspective here. And yeah, if we're talking Morocco versus France, it's easy. It's got to be Morocco. Morocco have been the underdogs. I didn't know how many Moroccans there are across the whole world until they started to win these football games, like across Europe and Dubai. I mean, Dubai, I knew there was a lot of Moroccans, but Europe, shit, I did not expect there to be that many Moroccans, and everyone wants to see Morocco win against France. Really, it's only the French that that wanna see France pull through that one. So yeah, definitely with Morocco, they have been performing phenomenally well. Definitely GG to them, as you've been saying there. Take a look at this chart, guys. We've got a little bit of an ascending triangle situation right here on this chart, with a little bit of horizontal resistance that's been acting on the market since kind of early November, and then also towards the beginning of this month and very end of last. We've been seeing some nice interactions with this resistance level and this upward trending support line right here. Now with a little bit of a breakout, just showing us that we do potentially have something that is quite exciting on this chart. This is with Bitcoin, but Ethereum has a similar setup, which I want to throw up on screen as well. Take a look at this. Ethereum has a similar setup. I haven't quite drawn the line here because it's not perfect, but the best case that we want to see, I think, on charts like this is that we do, now that we've gotten this breakout, is that we do come back down for a little bit of a retest, capture a little bit of support in these ranges, and then, go for a nice little blast off to the upside. We might not actually do that, but if we do, it would be very, very strong for the market and certainly quite exciting. So that is something that I'm going to be watching out for. The other thing that I want to do is just kind of staying on this chart, just take a look at the height of this kind of trend, and I haven't drawn this right here, but I can calculate this for you. We're going from 15.6 up to 17.2. So we're going to put in $17,000, 200, take away 15,600. That's a $1,600 range. So this triangle stretches $1,600. We'll call it $1,700 just so it goes in between this range right here. $1,700 range. Potentially giving us a target of, bear with. So we'd be breaking out from around here up by $1,700. That puts us at 19,000. So potential speculative target for this ascending triangle, putting us at $19,000. So that is something that I'm going to be paying attention to in this market. I think that this is something that works out pretty nicely. And it's also interesting to see that if we do take a look at the Ichimoku cloud with the very same analysis that I was giving you earlier on in this live stream, this does also line up. That 19K target does also line up with where a lot of our heavy resistance is going to be with this Ichimoku cloud. So that is something that I am continuing to watch. If we break this level, then the Ichimoku cloud, that is, then I think we're going to be in a very, very good position. Like, this is where I'm going to start becoming very, very bullish. Here's 3 examples of where we broke our bearish Ichimoku clouds. One was right here. We got a huge pump up from about, what was this, $5,000 up to 14 within a matter of months. On this occasion right here, we got from, I don't know what this was, like $5, $6, $7, probably $6,000 around. Yeah, this was $6,000. Went up to about 10K within like a month, and then actually pulled basically a 10 times gain and went all the way up to 60K with that same rally as well. On this occasion, when we managed to pump up above our red cloud, we didn't quite get a move straight away. We continued to slip lower, but we eventually did turn it into a bit of very nice price action. This price area was probably like $48,000. Obviously, we got up to 69 eventually. So if we are able to get above our resistance cloud right here, that would be absolutely huge. I don't know if it'll happen, but it is something that I'm continuing to watch. And of course, getting up that high would also trigger something else, which is quite bullish. Another chart pattern that we've been watching now develop for quite a long time is this falling wedge pattern that Bitcoin has been in. Quite a bullish pattern for Bitcoin. I've been showing you that we have our support areas down here, and we've been using our support phenomenally well, right? These are the kind of things that people just aren't going to be paying attention to because they're too scared in the market right now to even see anything like this. But of course, my job here is to not be scared and to just bring you the facts and the objective analysis, and that's exactly what you're getting here. If you're appreciating it, you know exactly what to do, smashing up those likes, subscribing to the YouTube channel, taking the bell and all that good stuff. If we do manage to get this move to the upside, that does potentially give us a 70% target to the upside, which would put us at about $32,000, which I think would be a perfect place for the market to rise up, capture some resistance, and come back down. We may not capture resistance and we may not come back down. We may not even get there, but I think that it would make a lot of sense for the market to have a very nice profiled bear market rally where we capture a heavy area of resistance up ahead where people can't believe that it's actually going to stop moving, and then it does stop moving, and then bam, we see even lower new lows. I think that would make a lot of sense, and it's definitely something that I'm going to be paying my attention to right here. with this market. So some really, really cool analysis there. Definitely looking quite good to the upside for Bitcoin. I think at the moment we're showing the right early signs. We're showing the signs that we were expecting on this YouTube channel. Let's be honest about that. And so I think that if we are going to continue to move up, we've got some really, really cool signs up ahead. If not, there is some good support down in the very low 17K range, the low to mids, kind of like 17.2 to 17.4, as I was saying earlier on. I think there's some really good support for Bitcoin down there. So at the moment, I'm not going to be worried if Bitcoin does end up getting a little bit of a drop down. So what I'm going to do now is go through some more of your questions. I can see that you have continued to drop them in the comments. If you do have more questions about the market specifically, less about football and less about my father that's in Brazil apparently, then drop them in the comments now and I will go through them. Really hope you have been enjoying this one so far. I do want to bring to your attention that I've got a little form down here in the description which allows you to get a little package that I put together worth $200, and it covers some of the key things that I've learned as a trader. Here's the little description I wrote for it. Just following one or two of these key points have been solely responsible for me making or saving hundreds of thousands of dollars in the game of trading, and I'm laying it all out to you on a silver platter in this book written by myself only. This whole thing was put together just by me. You're getting the ebook, you're getting the audiobook version of it narrated by yours truly. You're welcome. And this video course as well, which I'm also going to be re-recording. If that is something that you think would be useful for you, it was certainly very, very useful for me, the things I'm teaching in here. Well, you can get it for free instead of paying for it by filling out this little form right here. It's super quick. I know it says there's 4 pages. I don't know why. There's very little you actually have to do, and you can access it by following the link in the description down below. It is a very, very cool package right here, and of course, if you want to be able to take advantage of that 30k bonus on Bybit, bam, check that out. You got that right here. Linked in the description is also Prime XBT, one of the other key exchanges that I'm going to be using here, have already been using for multiple years, allowing you to trade some assets that you just can't find anywhere else in the crypto world. And BitGet is still offering you guys this huge bonus right here, a very, very cool ratio. They're actually offering you up to $8,000 right here if you scroll a little bit lower, in bonuses, which, if you combine the Bybit offering you up to 30k, Prime XBT up to 7, and BitGet up to 8, that is like $45,000 or something crazy. I don't know, I'm bad at math, but a lot of money that you get basically free of charge, and the rules and everything are going to be on these pages as well. So if that's something you're interested in, if you want to get some free cash, which you can just throw into trades, follow those links down below, and then these steps on screen will be to get yourself inside of VIP, where you can watch me trading in real time and all of that good stuff. So someone's asking here, is it realistic to be a successful trader even in the bear market? Mate, I became, for the first time, a successful trader in a bear market. I'm very comfortable in bear markets. They're not as fun as bull markets, that's for sure. There's less caviar and yacht parties with beautiful models and stuff. Yeah, we get a little bit less of that in the bear markets, but no, it's certainly realistic. It will depend on you. Bottom line, there are people that are quite successful right now in the bear market, and it's not like they have a particular edge over you. They probably even learned from the same books that you learned from. They just probably implement it better. So I think a lot of it is just learning how to be disciplined and resilient as a trader. And yeah, absolutely, it's super doable. It's obviously not easy, not at all. It's one of the most difficult things you could probably do. But realistic, absolutely, 100%. I think it's super realistic. And I know many people that are. Let's see what else we've got here. If I sell my Bitcoin or hold, I'm not your financial advisor. I'm not going to answer that. Let's see what else we have here in the comments. Do a quick side-by-side of Binance Coin and FTT. All right, interesting. Let's see what you're trying to show me. I'm guessing you meant Binance Coin against the dollar. And FTT against the dollar as well. You didn't make that clear, but I don't think you would be referencing anything else. Otherwise, you probably would have said specifically. I don't know which exchange to use for this. Alright, what am I looking at, bro? I don't see anything particularly shocking right now. Probably because I'm on the wrong chart. What am I looking at, bro? I don't see anything. You tell me. What's significant about this? Both coins have dropped pretty harshly, but pretty standard, isn't it, really? So let me just make sure we're on the daily time frame. That might be the problem. Yeah, I don't know. So unless you can tell me what I'm supposed to look at, I'm going to take this chart off. When is my Ferrari going to be on sale? That shit's not going on sale. That's I don't even see the resemblance though. That's the thing between Binance Coin and FTT. The Ferrari has just had its interior completely redone. I don't have any pictures of it, unfortunately, but it's going to be on my Instagram, so follow me using the link in the description if you don't already, and you'll see it. The interior in the Ferrari is completely new. The Range Rover, that interior has been completely redone as well. And the Ferrari I just collected today, so I'm very, very excited for that. FTT moving towards the crash, both have the same movement. They say Binance is about to crash. Okay, I got you. So let's bring it back up now that you've told me. So you're basically saying that FTT, when it collapsed, had a similar setup to Binance Coin right now. And I don't see that. I don't see the similarities, to be honest. I mean, yeah, I guess, if you're talking about this rally up here, representing this rally up here, and then the price kind of slowly moves down and then bam, collapses. Yep. I mean, other than the fact that we had a really big pump here and a much smaller pump here, it does look similar to FTX. I don't know if that's something I would read into though. That's not really something that I think looks particularly significant. I mean, I think a lot of coins have formed patterns that resemble this, to be honest. Let's see if I can find another one right now quickly. If I can, then that kind of disproves this, because like Solana's completely unrelated, and Solana's got an even more similar chart to FTX. Solana, to be fair, is not completely unrelated, because Solana's somewhat potentially tied to FTX. But here's Cardano, somewhat similar chart. It's really not that different, is it? XRP, not really the same, but no one cares about XRP. It's not really. I mean, they're all just kind of trading sideways, really, aren't they? At fairly low levels. It's not really anything that I think is particularly surprising. Phantom's also got a similar chart setup. I don't know. I'm not seeing what you're seeing. Maybe I'm not looking at the right thing, but I'm not seeing it. It's not really something that's looking particularly clear to me. So Binance crashing hasn't fully played out yet, but if you look, you can see that FTT played out fully already, and Binance is making its way there now. Well, it very well could be, but it very well could be that case. But I just don't see it happening for Binance. The thing to keep in mind about Binance, though, is that if for whatever reason things get bad, and I really don't care why they would get bad, it's totally irrelevant to me, but if for some reason they do get bad, Binance has this huge range right here, stretching between basically $30, $40 and $200, where on the daily time frame it just shot up. I mean, just absolutely fucking skyrocketed within this price range. Ridiculous price action. If we lose this yellow box, we'd probably be looking at falling down, quite substantially. So that's where I do agree with you, but overall, I'm not really seeing what you were describing there. And I certainly, again, like I said towards the beginning of this live stream, I really don't think that Binance has any particular issues in this market. I'm just not worried about it. It's going to be no rate hike at all tomorrow. Well, that would be quite big news if there is no rate hike at all tomorrow. This is why I brought this to you. I love how you poke holes. Oh, you got it, man. No problem. I'm glad I was able to help out there. And offer my perspective. It's a pretty generic chart pattern, to be honest. I think people want blood, bro. I think that's why you probably brought it up to me. I think a lot of people just want to see blood right now. Almost with it almost feels sadistic, right? When I was seeing all this fear around Binance today, it felt like people just wanted to see Binance lose. But guys, I just don't think it's that bad. I just don't think that that we're in such a horrible situation right now. I just don't. So I don't know. But that's my take. I mean, I don't think Binance is as anywhere near as bad in as bad of a position as people are saying. And like fear cycles like this in the news, they come and go, and these companies stay standing. I don't know, maybe I'm sounding a little bit ignorant here, but I'm just not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. For the fun of it, Sammy, were you shorting Ape? I don't trade shitcoins. Generally don't. How do you confirm where there's liquidity? I mean, you're gonna find liquidity like around big areas where the market has kind of formed reversals and stuff like that, right? So there's probably gonna be less liquidity where like there's empty gaps of trading here, and probably more liquidity where there's a lot of orders that have a lot of trades that have been exchanged here. Yeah, you could use things like book maps, but they're quite manipulated. So I think just looking at a chart is a little bit more reliable generally. It's not the correct way to see where liquidity is, obviously, but like in a literal sense. But things like book maps, they're just so heavily manipulated that I wouldn't even bother. Savvy. I don't know who Savvy is, bro. Savvy has been talking about this. That's where I saw it first, and I just don't see it. I think there are people going negative towards CZ after what part he had in FTX going down. Yeah, only he didn't have a part in FTX going down. FTX dug its own grave, and I mean, it's almost like a gust of wind blew, and that gust of wind happened to be from CZ's breathing. But do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just not really particularly concerned about like CZ's position in FTX, collapsing. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think he's a cool guy. Also, personally, don't like him too much personally, but I do think he's a cool guy. But ultimately, you can't blame FTX on him. You really can't. I mean, if FTX can go down because one guy tweets that he's selling his own holdings of a coin, like, I mean, come on, like the coin was going to collapse anyway. Something else would have triggered it. It's like you got a Jenga tower that's about to fall, and then like it's really, really about to fall, and then I don't know, like somebody from the corner just says your tower is gonna fall. Like they say the word, and then you get all superstitious and you act like it was his fault. Like, no, I mean, sometimes gravity is just gonna do what gravity does, and I think that's what we had with FTX, to be honest. Do I have a long-term outlook? No, not really. I'm not really a long-term guy. I don't think that I don't think that I'm the right person to ask about that. But bottom line, I mean, yeah, I'm pretty bullish on Bitcoin. Pretty happy being in Bitcoin, even if it's crashing. Don't have a problem with it. I think Bitcoin is the right place to park up money for myself. No thoughts on Decentraland, mate. Don't really know anything about them. CZ is too smart and humble to allow Binance to get in a position to fail. I agree. I fully, wholeheartedly agree. 1.9 billion withdrawn from Binance, not concerning at all. They have the reserves to support that kind of withdrawal. I don't know why people are worried about that. Like that's exactly what their proof of reserves the other day that they passed were for, is to show that they can support this. So I don't know why that's a problem. FTX did that to itself for sure, but you've got people out there who view it as if CZ brought it down, and those people are idiots. It's quite simple. It's quite straightforward. I mean, it really wasn't. It really wasn't CZ, and I know there's a large population of people that think that it was CZ, and they are just wrong. They're as wrong as you know. I mean, it's like you blame, and I'm really going to piss off a lot of people here, and that's exactly what I'm about to say. It's why you blame, you know, whatever current sitting government you have, you know, like in the United States on the current situation in the economy. You know, like, this isn't a Democrat, you know, mistake. This isn't a Republican mistake. You know, like these things have been fucked for a very long time, and I think it just kind of happened to be when, you know, whoever inherited the government took place, that this thing really started to implode, and I think it's the same case with FTX. It just happened to be that CZ said something, and this thing came collapsing. You know, but these things, I mean, you know, people want to point fingers, they want to blame it on one particular person, but a lot of this shit is just way too big. You know, you can't blame it on, you know, like in the previous example again, you can't blame it on one particular government. They're all pretty bad, and you can't blame it on one particular person either, because these things were already in these things were already in motion. Rumors they're going to get charged for money laundering. Yeah, so again, the money laundering charges, there's something that you know, there's something that could turn out to be a problem. But I don't know. I need to read on that before I comment on it. It's crazy as the comments start against Binance, even in here. Once we start talking about it, and yes, you're saying, man, things don't happen overnight. That crash in Bitcoin was in the charts prior to FTX falling apart. I don't know. I don't think that Bitcoin crash made sense. I think and I've said this before, the reason that I think Bitcoin would be way higher right now and wouldn't have crashed at all if this FTX thing didn't happen. The reason I've been saying that is because the S&P 500, which Bitcoin was so closely correlated to, right? In terms of when SPX goes up, Bitcoin goes up. When SPX goes down, Bitcoin goes down. The S&P 500, since the end of October, middle of October, has been in an uptrend. And the drama that we saw for Bitcoin on the very same days, the S&P 500 was doing pretty well. So I'm just not worried, like, in that sense. You know, like, I do think that Bitcoin could have been way higher were it not for this drama that came out. You know, again, which ultimately didn't even affect Bitcoin in the first place. It wasn't a Bitcoin problem. It was a centralization problem. It was an FTX problem. It's the same thing I was saying a month ago. I'm saying it again right now. My opinions on this matter remain unchanged. They're not really opinions anyway. I mean, at the risk of sounding extremely cocky, these are facts, right? What happened with FTX wasn't anything to do with Bitcoin. That's a fact. What happened with FTX was one greedy company and a lot of customers that trusted that company too much. You know, like, I know this sounds harsh, but that's why you know it's true. This is just how it works. I'm not saying opinions here. These are facts. This company got greedy. Fact. People trusted them too much. Fact. Like, a lot of people they had this stupid sense of entitlement. Like, you know, how would I have known that FTX, being such a big company, wasn't a safe place to put my money in? Well, you would know that because you're in the fucking crypto industry, mate. Like, that's the point of this industry, is that you don't trust people and you keep the money yourself. That's the point. You know, so to kind of like, to play it off like there's no way you could have expected this is ridiculous. And it's completely wrong. And, you know, obviously I'm not happy that anybody lost their money, but bottom line, you know, you don't get in the fucking crypto space to give custody of your funds to a centralized entity again. Just go back to JP Morgan. Pack up your shit and go back to JP Morgan. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's not what this is about. Like, you may as well just be, just buy some GBTC if you want to, you know, if you want Bitcoin exposure, then, you know what I mean? Like, go get some ETFs with your comfortable banks, go through Fidelity. Do you know what I mean? Like, it makes no sense to be in this space if you're just going to hand all your money back to a centralized entity. And that's exactly what happened. So again, this wasn't a Bitcoin problem to begin with. And that's why That's just why I didn't become as bearish as other people did, even when we got the drop, because to me this is just an overreaction to something that doesn't even matter. You're right, people love to point fingers and the tin hat people come out. Absolutely. People love to point fingers. They want one person to blame. They want it to be simple. They want a person to hate. And unfortunately, CZ isn't the person in this case. He just isn't. He just didn't. Yeah. You can't blame it on him. Just like you can't blame any particular big economic crisis on like just one president or just one like government. It's always going to be a mix of bad decisions that get spread out over a long period of time. Generally, stocks are good long-term plays right now. Why not do both? I think that's a great perspective. That's great, and that's why I'm so excited for Prime XBT when I see a great opportunity for the S&P 500, because we are in a situation, I think, right here where yes, I can't buy individual stocks on Prime XBT, but I can buy the whole index, which I think is potentially even a little bit better, potentially worse, depends on your perspective. Well said. Thank you very much, Timo. When am I doing a drunk stream? I don't know, man. I don't know. My team really doesn't want me to do anything like that. They think it's unprofessional for some reason. I don't know. I'm not really like. I don't think it should be fashionable, to, I don't know, maybe I'll change my mind on this, but it's not really something I'm particularly interested in. That's why I haven't done it yet. I know it would be fun, but probably pretty stupid as well. Fed pivot will crash the market, always has, sadly. Yeah, I think the Fed has a huge impact on the markets, to be honest. At this point, storing assets in cold storage should be a given. Absolutely agree. It was a given back in 2009, when paper wallets were a thing. Well, they still are, obviously, but when paper wallets were your only option. The question should be, what happens if we see major stablecoins depeg? Well, again, the crypto space isn't about stablecoins either. You guys would be surprised if you found out how little exposure I have to stablecoins. I just have my exposure to Bitcoin. Like, yeah, I know it's a little bit rough, and I know that not everybody can afford that. But ultimately, I don't trust stablecoins either. I'm not worried about them. I don't think that they're going to crash. I'm not worried about USDT or USDC. They've been around for a very long time, and there's a lot of very good reasons that they're probably going to stick around. Yes, one of them or many of them might fail, but I'm just not very worried about that. I don't think it's something that I should be particularly concerned about right now, so I'm not. But I'm still not in stablecoins, and I don't, again, if stablecoins depeg and if things go bad over there, that still wouldn't be a Bitcoin problem. That's what I'm trying to get across. It's like, put it this way, I'm going to give you a really good analogy for what we're describing right now. If Tesla, being a tech stock, Tesla's a car company, but it's also a tech stock. If Tesla were to collapse tomorrow and just like wipe off the face of the planet, a lot of people would lose. Well, actually, it's just Elon Musk now. Let's use a better example. Let's say Apple, right? A lot of people would, Apple is a publicly traded stock, right? A lot of people would lose a lot of money. It would be very, very bad, whatever. That wouldn't affect Microsoft, right? Like that, people might sell Microsoft in fear of like some sort of contagion effect, and that might even be reasonable to some extent. But an Apple problem is an Apple problem, not an industry-wide tech problem. Unless, I don't know, like quantum computing becomes a thing and it's not done by Apple and it's done by some other company in China or something, then yeah, okay, sure, Apple stock might, I don't know if Apple stock would get shorted because of that, but you know what I mean? Like, we're talking really big abstract stuff. For the most part, if one company fails, if something goes bad for one particular thing, I don't know why that instantly means it has to affect other things that are unrelated. That's what I'm trying to say. Do I think governments are generally for or against crypto as a whole? Governments are firmly against crypto as a whole. It's hard to tax. It's hard to control. It was made to come, to be against governments. I mean, that's pretty clear. So I don't think governments are a big fan at all. Big money thinking we get a 0.25 rate hike. Maybe we get none at all. That would be quite something. Well, we'll find out tomorrow, and I will certainly be here tomorrow as well. with another video or live stream as well, depending on what the situation calls for. So regardless, I'll be here. I am going to be heading off now. So I really hope you have enjoyed this live stream. If you have, you know exactly what to do. I want you guys to check out the links to Bybit, Prime XBT, and BitGet in the description down below. You're getting $45,000 in bonuses, guys. Absolutely crazy if you follow those links down in the description below. And if you check out the link for this free $200 package, $200 value package that you're getting right here, it's a very quick form, and it's all about just, are you already on Bybit? Have you already made a deposit of a minimum of $1,000? And if so, just give me your user ID. And if you don't know how to get your user ID, I've also given you a tutorial on how to do that on the next page here. It's super quick. It'll take you less than 5 minutes. I mean, super quick. And we will give you this package for free as a gift for myself and Bybit. Very cool opportunity indeed. And if you want to get yourself inside of VIP, bam, these are the steps on screen. Let's see these couple final questions we've got here. Why shouldn't you buy Bitcoin? You shouldn't buy Bitcoin. You're given the opportunity of a lifetime with cryptos that will go up way more higher than Bitcoin. Oh man. I mean, sure, yeah, a lot of coins probably will rise up more than Bitcoin, but you know, you're balancing risk and reward, right? Like, I mean, you know, the reward for a coin might be way higher, but the risk might be, you know, I mean, sorry, the reward might be like 5 times better than Bitcoin, but the risk might be 50 times more, you know? So at what point does it stop making sense is my point. I struggle to find the right place to place my entries and stop loss. How would you suggest the trader can improve on this? This is one of the key things that you see me implementing, refining, improving, teaching inside of 4Flies VIP and the academies that you'll get side by side when you pick up your membership. So just join here if you want to see how I do it. I don't have a lot of time to cover it in today's live stream, but you know, I mean, you're basically entries, you know, depends. Are you going long? You know, are you buying? Is it at a support level? You know, then maybe I'm gonna buy, you know, a little bit before the support level, a little bit on the support level, a little bit after. You know, I can average some entries that way. For my stop loss, you know, if I'm going long, if I'm buying, then I'm going to place my stop loss a little bit below the support level, you know, to give me some breathing space. You know, that's just a broad kind of, but to go in more detail, you know, you're going to have to watch some YouTube videos, some strategies on that kind of thing, maybe read a book. You know, this is the kind of thing that I talk about all the time inside of 4Flies VIP. You actually see how I set these levels and why I set them where I do in real time in the current market, right? Not like, you know, as you'd see in a book, like from, you know, the NASDAQ index from like 1999, but this is present day, what's going on right now. You're seeing exactly how I'm navigating it and why I'm choosing what I'm choosing. It's a very cool interactive kind of experience in that way. I'll be back. Got to get the kids. Thanks for hearing me out, bro, and talking things out. That's why I'll be here. Bear market, bull market, whatever, I'll be around regardless. Love you, homie. Mate, thank you so much. Appreciate the great questions. Very much appreciated. It's good to see you here in this live stream again. Did recognize you. And yeah, go have a great time with your kids. I'll be signing off here as well. Why aren't more millionaires buying up the Bitcoin? They should understand money better, right? We've actually seen evidence that they are. I've shown you guys charts of Bitcoin holders that have a lot of Bitcoins, like over 100, over 1,000, for example. We've seen evidence of wallets like that. I don't know the exact data, so don't quote me on this, but we've seen wallets like that going up in quantity, meaning that more really big holders of Bitcoin exist now, potentially. I mean, the data can be misleading. In a sense, it very well might be, but it's pretty hard to fake having, you know, I mean, you can't really spoof a 10,000 Bitcoin wallet, right? Like, you're going to need a lot of Bitcoins to be misleading about something like that. So, I don't know. It's loving the rumor of a 0 rate hike. Could be rich tomorrow on calls. You very well could be, mate. You very well could be. But yeah, I'm gonna call it a night here. Thank you all for tuning in. You know what to do. Hit up those likes one final time for me if you haven't done so already. Subscribe, tick the bell, do all that good stuff. I did mention that I wanted to know if this live stream audio would be okay for you. Only one person pointed it out, so I'm guessing that nothing's particularly bad about it, but there has been the sound of a keyboard in the background of this live stream. I want you to let me know one final time if that's been a problem throughout this live stream. Like I said, only one person brought it up, so I'm guessing no, but let me know if it is something that you're worried about. Cool. All right, thank you all very much, and I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers, bye.